you with how often should you train your glutes. So I know quite a lot about glute training, and that is mostly because I do my research, all that boring stuff, and I'm here to save you the job of reading all that, and I'm just going to tell you. So essentially, I found most of this information from Brett Contreras, aka the glute guy. You might know him, you might not know him. If you don't know him, you should know him, so go follow. He is here on YouTube, and I think he's also got an Instagram as well, so best bets, go follow him. He will tell you everything that you need to know. And if you search as well on Google the glute guy and have a look at some of his articles, they are amazing but very sciencey, so if you're not into that and you can't really understand the vocab, then maybe not for you. So the main point then is that you should be training your glutes 1 to 4 times a week. That is the recommended amount from the glute guy himself, the guy who created the hip thrust. So I tend to believe him, and my waist is now 28 inches and my bum is 40 inches. So I'd pretty much say that his tips work because they're the only tips that I ever follow, and I've had maybe like 6 inches of growth. So just saying, just putting that out there, you should probably listen. So essentially you can incorporate these sessions into a leg day or anything like that. Obviously, I think for most glute days anyway, you're probably going to target your legs at some point, so why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone? So say for example you want to do 1 session a week then. My tip to you would be to introduce things like pyramid sets. Just anything that's going to get you to increase the volume a bit more than what you normally would. So pyramid sets, if you don't know, I'll try and insert a little diagram here, but essentially what they mean is lighter weight, higher reps, and then you will go up and up and up like a pyramid until you reach really low reps, really high weight. And you're going to do however many sets it takes to get there. So you will each time increase the weight and decrease the number of reps that you do until you get right the way to the top at maybe your 1 rep max if you want to do that. So essentially what this does is it just increases the total volume that you will get in at 1 workout, because if you're only doing 1 session a week, you need to get as much volume in as possible, because that is the thing that is going to make the muscle growth happen. Whereas if you're doing somewhere to, 2 to 3 to 4 times a week, you've got several opportunities then to be able to actually target the muscles. So therefore you can separate the load over the course of 4 different sessions, which makes it obviously slightly easier and slightly less stressful on your body, I suppose, if you're doing like huge weights and stuff like that. So if you are going to opt to do like 3 to 4 times a week, I would say to do 2 sets each day of hip thrusts, specifically hip thrusts. You can obviously still do whatever you would do for your glutes alongside this, but the key movement in any glute workout should be a hip thrust. It just targets the glutes so well. It's honestly amazing. It changed my life anyway. Like all these other little exercises that I was doing before, they helped, yeah, but the second that I introduced the hip thrust, I started to get that shelf, when your back is there and then and then you just get like the shelf at the top. I started to get that once I started the hip thrust, and I feel like that is like what everyone wants. So yeah, just putting that out there. So I'd say to do 2 sets each day of hip thrusts. I'd do 1 heavy low rep and like 1 high rep low weight. It's entirely up to you. You can do 3 sets if you want and do a high weight low rep, or you can do medium weight and like middle reps. You can do high weight and you can do low weight and high reps. I always get that mixed up. It's so hard to remember.
So since I just completely butchered that, I want to just quickly come in from the future and say that what I meant by that was you can do it in 3 different sets. You can do a heavy weight, low reps, and then you can do a medium weight with middle reps, and then you can do a low weight with high reps.
Okay, so essentially if you're going to do a heavy session, obviously you want to be increasing the weight and you want to be decreasing the amount of reps that you are doing for each exercise. So if you're doing a medium rep session, I'd say to try and incorporate some single leg movements. And if you're doing a high rep, low weight session, I'd just say to do like, you know, just the barbell on its own, or like incorporate a band and try and do like burnouts and all that kind of stuff. Just so you're getting like the maximum that you can out of your glute workout throughout the week, because it's about the total week volume. That is what is going to help with your muscle growth. So the alternative then is to do a heavy light medium, like split as they call it, I suppose, where you'll go heavy at the start of the week. So maybe your heavy day will be on Monday, and you will essentially do 3 sets of 5 reps of whatever exercises you're doing. So it might be compound movements like deadlifts, back squats, all that sort of thing, and obviously do your hip thrusts on this day. And then on maybe Wednesday, you'll do your light session and you'll do 2 sets of 20 reps and basically just do like banded stuff, burnouts, all that kind of stuff, and still do your hip thrusts. Do them with like a barbell on its own, so 20 kilograms if it's the same as what my gym is, barbell on its own, and just like do a complete burnout until you can't go anymore. And then last one would be to do a medium on a Friday. So you'd essentially get 3 sets in and do 8 reps of each. So that's sort of like the middle ground between obviously the heavy and then the light. And I'd say you pretty much targeted every sort of muscle fiber then throughout the week. So in terms of, you know, hip thrusts, I know that it can sort of get a bit complicated when it comes down to the sets and reps. A lot of people are very confused about, oh, how many sets should I do? How many reps should I do? Like, how many's too many? How many's not enough? And all that kind of stuff. I'd just say that, like, if you are doing a lot of weight, maybe about 15 reps in total is enough. If you're doing like a really, really low weight, or you're doing no weight at all, I'd say like 50 reps. So you're going to have to increase the sets and the reps each time, or you're going to have to decrease the sets and lower the reps. It depends entirely on the weight that you're using. So for example, I'm going to pop some little variations of sets and reps on the screen. So you can do 3 sets of 5, which would be a heavy day. So you'd burn out your 5 reps and then you'd rest. You can rest anywhere between 1 to 5 minutes with these glute days. So just make sure that you are resting, because I know a lot of people feel like, oh, I need to keep that burn there. Like, yeah, you do. You obviously, you know, metabolic stress is one of the key things in muscle growth, but it's about doing that while you're doing a set. Just make sure that you have the recovery time to be able to go again and get the maximum, like, you know, perfect form, the maximum amount of reps that you can do in each set. Without that rest, it's just going to tire you out and you're not going to be able to go as long or be able to push the barbell up as high and that sort of thing. Rest is essential. So then you've got the combination of 1 set of 5, 1 set of 3, and 1 set of 1. So this again would be a pretty heavy day. So you'd start at somewhere between maybe 75% of your 1 rep max and gradually increase the load, and then your last set will be your 1 rep max. If that is what floats your boat, please don't injure yourself trying to do a 1 rep max. If you feel comfortable doing it, then do it slowly. Start at a weight that you feel comfortable with and then gradually increase it until you realise, hang on a minute, I am actually really struggling here, I can't get the weight up or whatever. Just be so careful doing stuff like that. It can be known as ego lifting if you take it too far, and obviously so many people injure themselves from trying to big themselves up or impress other people in the gym. So just take it slow and don't like go overboard with the weight and stuff. It's not necessary to do a 1 rep max. Just make sure that overall your volume is great across the week and you'll be fine. So the next combination of sets and reps then is 1 set of 8, 1 set of 5 and 1 set of 3. So this would probably start off then at quite a lighter weight than it would as opposed to the 1 set of 5, for example. You want to pick a weight that you're comfortable with, one that you know that you can go for longer with, so 8 reps is quite a high amount. And then gradually that's going to decrease, so you're going to be doing less reps, so then you can start to increase the weight, and then you'd pick a weight for the last one that you can do 3 reps with. It's all about like knowledge, so you need to kind of know your own body and test your limits, test what you can and can't lift. If you don't do that, you're obviously not going to know what weights that you can lift for 3 reps or what weights you can lift for 1 rep and that sort of thing. But you constantly need to be increasing the weight in order to gain that muscle mass. Your body needs to have that shock to say, hang on a minute, we can't lift this. And then it has to break itself down and then quickly rebuild in order for you the next time around to be able to lift that same weight that you couldn't push up before, if that makes sense. It's so essential to keep increasing your weight, and this is why I introduce stuff like this in terms of the lower sets, lower reps sort of situation, because then it obviously allows you, if you think, oh well, I've only got to do 2 reps, so I can go a lot heavier, so you don't worry about it as much. Whereas if you give yourself, something with 12 reps, you're going to think, oh, I can't do that with a really heavy weight, so I'm going to go really light. And then you're just underestimating yourself and not giving yourself that opportunity to, realise what you actually can lift. I know that was my problem for a long time. So test your limits is all I'm saying. Another set variation is 3 sets of 8. So this then would be obviously a weight that you are quite comfortable with, another one that is quite light, and you're going to have your rest 1 to 5 minutes in between. You're probably going to have more rest in between these ones just because they are higher reps, so your heart rate's going to increase a lot more. So yeah, I'd say more rest in between these different sets of the higher reps. But still go with a weight that is quite heavy and challenging for you. Don't just slack off because you're doing 8 reps. Just make sure that you are still pushing yourself. So getting into the higher rep, higher set ranges, one of the variations that I came up with was 1 set of 10, 1 set of 8, 1 set of 6 and 1 set of 15 to 20. So the first 3 sets then you're going to start at quite a light weight and then gradually increase the weight, and then for the last set you're going to either do body weight or a very light weight, and that's basically a burnout set. So you're just going to basically get those last little muscle fibers that are still running around there, still living the best life and fucking not breaking down. And then that's going to kill them off, and then they're going to have to come back and rebuild with the rest of them. I've got a few more. I know that I've put them on the screen, so you can have a look at those yourself. For example, like the 1 set of 50, that would be body weight. I wouldn't say to do any weight with that unless you are really experienced. And you can use things like resistance bands for those sorts of sets. If you're going to do really high reps, just grab a resistance band, maybe do an abduction at the top of the movement. Whatever floats your boat, whatever you think will get you that burn and that, the metabolic stress in your muscle to build up. Just make sure that you are being safe when you do it. Okay, that is another finished video. I hope that this has helped you out a little bit and clarified how easy it is to change up your sets and your reps in terms of the glute bridge and the hip thrust. It's obviously a scary thing to think, oh, if I do too much then it's not going to help, or if I do too little then it's not going to help. So it's finding that balance that you're comfortable with. As long as you make a combination of a light, a medium and a heavy day throughout your split in the week, then you should be fine. Always aim for more reps, and if you're increasing the weight, decrease the reps. That is all there is to it, really. There's not much. Just incorporate some of the variations that I've shown you and you should be perfectly fine. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit. If it does, then give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll leave my Instagram in the description box below. See you in the next one.